Hi guys, this is Mrs. Scott, and today we are going to wrap up Chapter 1 with a lesson on perimeter, circumference, and area. So we're going to figure out how to calculate both perimeter and area for squares, rectangles, triangles, and circles. And before we get into that, we need to discuss what perimeter, circumference, and area are. We can abbreviate those with P, C, and A. And perimeter is just the distance around a figure. So if we're going to put a fence around a figure, that would be its perimeter. The circumference is also a perimeter, but it is the perimeter specifically of a circle. So it's a distance around a circle. And the area is the square units that cover a figure. And we're going to start out by discussing the perimeter and area of a square. So let's do that. So let's draw a square. We know a square has all sides the same. So I'm going to call this S, and this is S, and this is S, and this is S. So the perimeter would just be S plus S plus S plus S, or 4 times S. The area is S times S, or S squared. And let's do an example. So say we've got a square, blam, there it is. And all the sides are the same length. And one side is 12 meters. So the perimeter would be 4 times 12, which would be 48 meters. The area would be the side squared. So 12 squared is 144, and then our units would actually be meters squared, or square meters. All right, let's look at a rectangle. So in order to find the perimeter and area of a rectangle, you need to know the width, which we usually call W, and you need to know the length, which we usually call L. So the perimeter is W plus W, or 2W, plus L, or 2L. The area is just length times width. Okay, let's use that in an example down here. So say we have a rectangle here. These two sides are the same. These two sides are the same. And all 4 angles are 90 degrees. And let's say the width is 7 feet. And the length is 11 feet. So to find the perimeter, we do 2 times the width, or 2 times 7. Plus 2 times the length, 2 times 11. So let's see, that would be 14 plus 22, which is 36 feet. All right, and then the area, a little bit simpler. Length times width would give us 77 square feet. All right, it's a pretty big rectangle. Next part is finding the area and perimeter of a triangle. So, say we've got this triangle here, and there's 2 things you need to know about a triangle to find its area. You need to know the length of the base, which we usually call B, and you need to know how tall it is, which we usually call the height, H. So the area is half the base times the height. To find the perimeter, I don't really have a formula for you, but you just add up all 3 sides. So not really a formula for that. Depends on what type of triangle you're working with. All 3 sides might be the same. There might be 2 the same. They might all be different. But let's look at an example. I'm going to use a right triangle for this example. So we have a right angle there. This is 3 centimeters, this is 4 centimeters, and this is 5 centimeters. And let's find the area first. So we take 1/2 times the base, which is 3 centimeters, times the height, which is 4 centimeters. So 3 times 4 is 12. Half of 12 is 6. So this would be 6 square centimeters. And the perimeter, we just have to add up the 3 sides. So 4 plus 3 plus 5 is 12 centimeters. And that's it. All right, the last problem deals with circles, which is probably the most challenging shape to find the area and perimeter of, because we have to use that value pi. So let's just start by drawing a sketch here of a circle. And to find the area and circumference of a circle, you need to know either the radius, or if you want to use the whole thing, we call that the diameter d. So to find the area, you take pi times the radius squared. And to find the circumference, you take 2 times pi times the radius, or you could use this formula, just pi times the diameter. So it doesn't matter, these two both will get you the same answer, just whatever you're more comfortable with or whatever you're given. So let's look at an example. I have a circle and they tell me the diameter here is 8 miles. All right, let's find the area first. So if the diameter is 8, that tells me the radius is 4 miles. So when I use this area formula, I have to do pi times 4 squared, or pi times 16. And I don't, in this class we're going to use our calculator's value for pi. So I know in the past you may have been used to using about 3.14 for pi, but I encourage you to find that pi value on your calculator. If you've got questions with that, let me know, I can help you. So if you plug this into the calculator, pi times 4 squared, it should give you a value of about 50.3. This is an area, so it would be square miles. Okay, lastly, let's find the circumference. So I'm going to use this second formula down here because I have the diameter. So I'm just going to simply do pi times 10. Or sorry, pi times 8. The diameter is 8. So if I do pi times 8, you could write your answer as just 8 pi. If you plug that into a calculator, you could get a decimal approximation. But then the units are just in miles, because circumference is a length or distance. Okay, one last example here. We are going to need to use the distance formula. So if you recall from a previous lesson, the distance is found by taking the difference in the x values and squaring them, the difference in the y values, squaring those, and taking the square root of the whole thing. All right, so that's what we'll use here to find the perimeter and area of the triangle shown below. Well, we can actually find the area right away, because if I think of tilting this on its side, I'm going to say that EG here is the base, which is 4, and the height is from here to here. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 units. So the area is 1/2 the base times the height. So that'd be half of 24, which would be 12. All right, now finding the perimeter is going to be a little bit more challenging. I've got part of it already because I know that side EG is 4, but I still need to find the length of side EF and then of GF. So let's find EF by using the distance formula. So I'm going to say this is my x1, my y1, my x2, and my y2. So I've got 7 minus 1 squared plus, so would that be 3 minus 6 squared, and then we take the square root of the whole thing. All right, so that would be 6 squared, which is 36, and then negative 3 squared would be 9, and 36 plus 9 is 45, so the square root of 45, if you plug that into a calculator, is about 6.7. All right, and lastly, let's go ahead and find the length of GF. Okay, I'm going to erase these x1s and y1s and x2s and y2s and start over. So now let's say G is our x1, y1, F is our x2, y2, and let's find the length of GF. So we end up with our x2 is 7 minus 1 squared, and then our y2 is 3, our y1 is 2, so 3 minus 2 squared. Let's see, so 7 minus 1 is 6, 6 squared is 36. 3 minus 2 is 1, 1 squared is 1. So this would be the square root of 37, which is approximately 6.1. So last but not least, to find the perimeter, we're going to add those three sides together. The first one is just 4, side EG. So we got 4. And then our second side length we just found was 6.7. And then that last one was 6.1. So if we add those all together, we get a perimeter of 16.8 units. All right, I appreciate you guys watching today. Please come see me if you've got any questions on your assignment, which today is a scavenger hunt. So if you're not in class, don't fear. I have posted the problems for the scavenger hunt in our